Hi, all. Welcome to our podcast, The Agility Station. This is episode 4 of a series on how we can improve the performance of an Agile Release Train. I am your host, Anshu Gupta, and with me is my another host, Vinod Krishnan. And in this episode, we continue our discussion on what are the different maturity assessments that we can use to identify the maturity of agile release train or of a team or even for an individual role that someone is playing. So what is the maturity of those, and what all are covered as part of these assessments? So if you have not watched our previous episodes, then do watch it and subscribe to our podcast channel, The Agility Station. Welcome, Vinod, in episode 4 of Improving Performance of an Agile Release Train.
Thank you, Anshu. So, continuing our discussion, there is one more question that we used to get usually, like what are the different levels of art maturity? Anshu, your thoughts on that.
Vinod, it's a good question. So, we talk a lot on the maturity of an art or team, but what are those levels? So, we generally divide maturity levels into five stages. The first stage is your initial. This is an stage where art or team has just been formed. They've started implementing basic agile practices. So they are the new into agile. The teams have started working together, but they have a very limited knowledge of agile practices, and the collaboration within them is very small. Then is the developing stage. This is a stage where team has adopted the agile practices, and they start collaborating in a better way. Basic roles and responsibilities are defined, and the team has started performing. But still, they are not fully mature in all the agile practices. Third is your established state. This is an state where your art has a clear vision and goals. Teams are fully aware of the agile practices. They are following it to the maximum extent. The teams are now collaborating together. They are delivering value regularly, and art has now actually im- implemented continuous improvement practices within the teams. Then is your advanced stage. This is a stage where there is a high level of collaboration within teams. There's a strong trust among themselves. We generally say here that the teams have now become a high performance teams who are self-organizing in nature. There's a strong focus on customer feedback, and uh, quality has improved a lot. Art now effectively manages dependencies and risks by themselves. And finally, is your optimizing or an innovative state. This is a state where art actually becomes a role model for the other arts or teams to follow. They have matured enough into the agile practices, and they continuously improve the processes and practices to and come up with the innovative ways to deliver the solutions. Teams are highly adaptive to change and innovation. Learning is embedded in their culture, so they have a very good retros. They are coming up with a lot of self improvement processes, etc. And here the team are being innovative in the nature, where they come up with lot of learning practices through retros. So this is about the five maturity levels of an art or for a team. So, Vinod, what uh, are the different assessments that we can use to find out the maturity of an art?
So, as per Scaled Agile in SAFE, there are assessments to measure the current state of a portfolio and how to improve overall business outcomes. So we'll not go much in detail of SAFE competency assessments because it's a proprietary material of Scaled Agile. Hence, we'll discuss on a higher level. So in SAFE, Competency is measured by two separate assessment techniques or mechanisms. One is the Safe Business Agility Assessment. This is actually designed for LPM and portfolio stakeholders, the business stakeholders, and to assess the overall progress of true business agility. In It's also not, it's you can say like it's a kind of high level assessment that summarizes how agile is your business at any point in time. Then the second one we have, second mechanism is the safe core competency assessments, which will help teams and art to improve on their technical and practices like business practices, which they can, which by improving that, which will help portfolios to achieve the organizational goals. So if you take the first one, the business agility assessment, there are seven core competencies. So first one is a lean agile leadership assessment, and it's like measuring the how the leaders and the organizations support the principles like lean agile principles. Second is a team and technical agility assessment, where the assessment will try to understand the team practices and technical skills each team has. So it covers various dimensions like teamwork, value delivery, quality practices, customer satisfaction, etc. Third one, we have Agile Product Delivery Assessment. It's it measures the customer-centric approaches and how and the value delivery, like how, the quality of your delivery. And this will help the organizations to measure how well they are doing in the agile product delivery competency. Fourth one, we have enterprise solution delivery assessment. So it's like how well the organization is uh, good in giving a kind of solution on the enterprise level. Then we have a lean portfolio management assessment, so which basically tells the helps to assess the connection between the strategy what the leaders have designed and the execution of that strategy. This will actually help or measure the organization's proficiency, like how to in implementing the LPM practices. Then we have organizational agility assessment, which measures like how well the organization is ready to adopt the changes which and response to the market changes and customer needs. We have the seventh and the last one is a continuous learning culture assessment, where we will evaluate how the organization has a culture of learning and improvement. The next part is the safe core competency assessments. So after the safe business agility is conducted, the business starts exploring and start to measure some take some specific action on some or all the seven core competencies. So wherever there is a gaps is identified, they will try to explore more on that. And this safe core competency assessment goes a little bit deeper. Once the gaps are identified and understand how to implement the opportunities or identify the opportunities to improve. So if you take one example, it's like a team and technical agility. So we can conduct assessments on agile teams for their teamwork, value delivery, and learning and improving. Built-in quality, where quality practices, how the team is doing the quality practices, customer satisfaction, like net promoter scores, NPS that we can do. Last one is on a team of agiles, where the delivery execution and organization and alignment is measured. So these assessments will help team to identify their strengths and like what all areas of growth, and then try get some guidance on towards the better performance and delivery. One more assessment is that actually it's not part of the core competency assessment. It's called a DevOps Health Radar Assessment, and obviously it measures the maturity of the all the DevOps practices. If the organization, if they have a safe program consultant, uh, the SPC, they can assist to execute this assignment assessments and improve, like implement the results. So, Anshu, anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, so these are the assessments that we talked about till now. They are the specific safe assessments. So if you are not running safe as an agile framework, someone is using Scrum or Kanban or any other way, so they can use a lot of other open assessments which are available in the market. These assessments are available for each role uh, that someone is playing, for example, for team, product owners, Scrum Master, Agile coaches, and Agile leaders. So these assessments are generally based on the competency of people as well as the roles and responsibility that they are performing at that role. For example, if you talk about the assessment for teams, so it will mainly focus on individual developers and the role that they are playing, the competencies that they need, like the collaboration within the team, how the sprint planning they are doing, whether the team is attending different agile ceremonies or not, how what is their motivation in the scrum processes, whether they know the agile practices very well or not. So some of these type of questions will be there for assessment for teams. Similarly, if you talk about the assessment for scrum masters, so for a scrum master, what is most important is their communication skills, your facilitation skills. So you can have certain questions revolving around all these competencies, the role that they are performing, like the responsibility that they have, whether they are able to properly facilitate the agile ceremonies, whether they are able to give the proper feedback or not. Are, is a Scrum Master allowing a team to self-organize or not? You can have certain questions on active listening on the Scrum Master as competency. So similarly, you can have a assessment for product owners. So the role that a product owner is performing, the main responsibilities are the backlog refinement, communication skills, collaboration with the stakeholders. So how well they are doing. So you can have certain questions revolving around that, whether the product owner knows the vision statement of the product or not, how frequently she is interacting with the stakeholders, whether the stakeholders uh, feedback is being incorporated as part of backlog or not, how frequently the backlog is being uh, revised and refined, how the user stories are being created. So all these type of questions you can put in your assessment. So these can be tailored as the need for an organization or for your own teams. There are no hard and fast questions that you have to have it, but this will give you an idea that what are the different gaps and what are the steps that you can take up to avoid those gaps. Similarly, for an agile leaders, you can have an assessment where you can focus mainly on areas like how they are empowering teams, whether they are fostering collaboration within the team, how actively they are listening to the feedback. So all these type of competencies from agile leaders can make an assessment. Now, if you say the competencies team empowerment, so you can ask certain questions like, do you trust your team to make decisions and own their work, or the leaders are passing on the work to the team? Do you provide autonomy to and delegate tasks effectively, or how it is being done? So certain questions like this you can have as part of our assessment. Now, for leaders, there are a lot of other models and maturity assessments available in the market, which are defined by different companies, like Agile Leadership Maturity Model, Agile Leadership 360. So we will not go into detail of each of these assessments. It's just highlight that a lot of these assessments are available that you can use it for Agile leaders. And finally, for coaches also, you have an assessment where the assessment will be based on the competencies of an agile coach. So this is generally focused on 8 different areas, like your facilitation skills of a coach, coaching skills, serving, the agile lean practitioner, transforming, leading, advising, and guide learning. So for coaches also, there's an assessment available. You can go to that assessment that will give you some idea on what is your current maturity level and where you want to move, and what are the gaps that are there and how you can plan to fill those gaps. So, do you have any thoughts to add on any of these assessments or any new assessment that you would like to add?
That was an actually excellent explanation. Thanks, Anshu. Nothing much. I think like on a final note, uh, the organization and the team can choose the assessment which they want to execute it, where they want to run it, and make sure that it's it's in to understand that it will helpful to understand the gaps the team and the organization is having, and they can improve on that.
Uh,
That's
th-
all, Anshu. Yeah.
so, with this, we come to an end of this episode. Thanks, Vinod, for joining in today's session on defining different assessments that we can take up to identify the maturity of an art or release. So, in a nutshell, for every role, you have an assessment available. For every type of agile framework that you're using, an assessment is available. You can take any of those assessments, and you can plan for improvement.
Thanks, Anshu. So with this, we come to an end for this on of this episode. And thank you, Anshu, for joining.
Uh, Thanks, Vinod. And till then, stay agile, stay focused, stay healthy. We'll meet in the next episode. Thank you all.